We're looking at a panel featuring the Aspen E5 electronic flight instrument setup with a PFD up top and an HSI down below. We've paired it with a Garmin GTN-650 and S-Tech Autopilot, and with help from Todd at Solid Ground Aviation at Tipton Airfield in Maryland, we're going to simulate an ILS approach to have a look at its basic functionality. This tutorial assumes a baseline understanding of glass cockpit platforms such as the G1000, so we won't get into the altitude or airspeed tape or how course and heading information is displayed on the HSI or things like that. You can check out our complete glass cockpit transition course to dive deep on that if you like. We're currently flying direct to Frederick Airport, having been told to expect vectors to the ILS to runway 23. We're coming from the east like this. The first thing we can do, since we've been told to expect the approach, is load it into the 650. We'll select vectors as that's what we've been told to expect. Next, ATC tells us to turn right heading 320, vectors for the ILS. On the Aspen, we'll twist the right knob to set a heading of 320. Then, on the S-Tech, we'll push HDG to activate heading mode. On this version of the Aspen, there's a flight director, this triangle here, which indicates the pitch and bank angle needed to fly the selected mode on the S-Tech. With a dual-axis autopilot active, it'll fly this attitude. Without autopilot, you can hand fly the attitude indicated by the flight director. Often, ATC will change your vector based on your positioning relative to final, so approach tells us to turn right heading 340. Once again, we'll twist the right knob to select 340, and since we're already in heading mode on the autopilot, we'll be turned on course. Here's how to manually set up for the ILS approach. We'll want the localizer frequency for the approach up on our nav 1. If we push the knob in, it'll switch from COM to nav. The localizer for the approach is already loaded on standby, which was done for us once we loaded the approach. So we tap to switch it to active. The HSI is still on GPS mode. It's still set to go to Frederick Airport, which we were navigating to prior to getting that first vector. We'll switch over to VLOC mode to pick up the ILS. We're still not quite in the line of fire of that directional signal from the localizer, so it's not active yet. We'll use the left knob to set the inbound course of the approach 229 degrees. Let's set the minimums for the approach. To do that, we'll push the right knob in once, and it first selects heading, which is shown in magenta, and then pushing it in again goes to altitude select, again goes to altimeter setting, then once again takes us to the minimums box. We'll twist the knob to set the ILS minimums of 690. Meanwhile, the localizer signal has come alive. We see the needle on the HSI and the localizer indications on the primary display. We can activate vectors to final on GPS since we're on vectors. Alternatively, we could have activated vectors to final and the HSI would have automatically switched to VLOC mode with the localizer frequency active on nav 1 and the course selector set to the inbound course. But we've had a look here at how to do all that manually. ATC tells us to descend and maintain 2000. We push the right knob a few times to select altitude and twist to 2000. We'll push VS on the autopilot for vertical speed mode and twist the knob to go down 600 feet per minute. The vertical speed is displayed both textually and with a white bar showing how slowly or quickly we're descending. ATC gives us another turn heading 320, a base leg for the ILS. We'll once again twist the knob to that heading. At this point, we can expect our approach clearance. ATC will say, you're 5 miles from Feason, turn left heading 260, maintain 2000 until established, cleared ILS runway 23. We'll push approach mode on the S-Tech to arm both localizer and glide slope capture. Depending on the autopilot unit you have, this will look different, but with a true dual-axis autopilot, you can set it up this way. When we're 200 feet from our selected altitude, a yellow arrow will appear at the top right of the primary display as an altitude callout, and we level off at 2000. Again, with some S-Tech units, you may need to manually capture the altitude. Once the glide slope comes into center, the autopilot goes into glide slope capture mode, and we can configure and start down on the approach. We'll take it down to minimums, at which point we'll make our decision to continue or go missed. Let's talk a bit about the hotkeys on the right side of the HSI. The hotkey next to the word min toggles the approach minimums on and off on the primary display. The hotkey next to 360 toggles the compass mode. It's currently in 360-degree mode, showing the familiar representation of the HSI. If we were to push the hotkey, it would go into arc mode, showing just 100 degrees of the arc, but giving an extended forward view from the aircraft position. The hotkey marked GPS-S is for GPS steering. When paired with your autopilot and it's toggled on, it'll use GPS data to capture and track the navigation you're flying off of. Here with the S-Tech, we won't use it. The Baro hotkey allows you to toggle adjusting the altimeter setting on and off. Toggling it on makes the right knob control the altimeter setting without having to cycle through it as we did before. The Aspen E5 dual setup here with a good GPS and autopilot is a very strong IFR solution, so you'll see it more and more as older aircraft upgrade their panels. Play around with it as much as you can with an instructor to get comfortable, and if you're in Maryland, check Todd out at Solid Ground Aviation, and of course check out all Flight Insight training programs today at the link here and in the description.